There's a version of success that can quietly destroy a marriage while everything still looks healthy on the outside. The business grows, income increases, influence expands, people respect you, opportunities multiply. But at home, something starts shifting. Conversations become transactional, connection weakens, patience shortens, emotional intimacy fades. Not because you stop loving one another, not because either person is evil, but because pressure has a way of exposing what has not been intentionally cared for. And for high capacity leaders especially, this can happen slowly and silently. I want to talk to you about something I do not think gets discussed enough. How success, leadership pressure, ambition, and responsibility can slowly pull a husband and wife apart if there is not intentional alignment spiritually, emotionally, relationally, and even financially. And I also want to approach this biblically because scripture has a lot to say about ambition, stewardship, leadership, priorities, and the condition of the heart. If you are building something meaningful while also trying to build a healthy marriage and family, this conversation matters. Let me say this clearly. Success is not evil. Ambition is not automatically wrong. Building a business is not unspiritual. Leadership is not unspiritual. Wealth is not unspiritual. Throughout scripture, we see people entrusted with influence, responsibility, leadership, and resources. The issue is not success itself. The issue is what success begins to do inside of us when our soul is neglected. Jesus said in Mark chapter 8, verse 36, "For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and to forfeit his soul?" That verse is often applied only to salvation, but I think there is wisdom there for everyday life as well. It is possible to gain externally while deteriorating internally. It is possible to build financially while starving relationally. It is possible to become highly effective professionally while becoming emotionally unavailable at home. And many high-performing leaders do not notice this happening because the world rewards productivity, not presence. The world celebrates output, but your spouse experiences your availability. Those are two very different things. One thing I've noticed in conversations with leaders is this: many men never fully come out of problem-solving mode. They carry pressure constantly: payroll, employees, clients, growth and vision and responsibility, risk, and over time, their nervous system adapts to constant pressure. The problem is that pressure rarely stays compartmentalized. You may physically come home, but mentally and emotionally, you are still carrying the weight of everything else. And your spouse feels that, not because you are intentionally disconnecting, but because emotional presence requires margin. And many leaders have no margin left. You can sit on the couch with your family while still being emotionally absent. Your body is there, but internally, you are still in the boardroom. This is why scripture repeatedly talks about rest, abiding, stillness, and remaining connected to God. Not because God is against productivity, but because human beings were never designed to carry nonstop pressure without spiritual and relational consequences. Psalm 46 says this. It says, "Be still and know that I am God." Stillness is difficult for people whose identity became tied to output. And many leaders secretly fear slowing down because achievement became connected to worth. A lot of successful people learned early in life that performance creates value. Achieve more, produce more, carry more, win more. And those traits often create successful leaders. But they can create struggling husbands because marriage cannot thrive on performance alone. Your spouse does not simply need your provision, they need your heart. One of the hidden dangers of success is that competency can become a substitute for intimacy. You start measuring your value by what you accomplish instead of how deeply connected you are to God and the people closest to you. And eventually, the relationship starts functioning more like a business partnership than a covenant relationship. Schedules, responsibilities, bills, and kids and logistics, but very little intentional connection. In Ephesians chapter 5, Paul gives instruction to husbands and wives. And what stands out to me is that biblical marriage is deeply relational and sacrificial. It is not merely operational. A husband can provide financially while still failing to truly shepherd the emotional and spiritual health of his home. And I say that with humility because this is something many leaders wrestle with, especially leaders carrying significant responsibility. Most marriages do not collapse overnight. Usually it's gradual. Death by distraction, death by exhaustion, death by emotional neglect. Two people stop slowing down long enough to really see each other. Conversations become about logistics instead of connection. And eventually, there is distance where intimacy used to be. One of the most sobering verses for leaders is in Revelation 2, when Jesus tells the church in Ephesus, "You have abandoned the love you had at first." What is interesting is this church was still doing many things right externally, but internally, affection and intimacy had weakened. I think many marriages experience something similar. Life gets busy, responsibilities increase, pressure grows, and little by little, intentional connection disappears. Not because love disappeared instantly, but because attention drifted elsewhere. Where attention goes, intimacy follows. And for many leaders, ambition slowly became the loudest voice in the room. Not intentionally, gradually. Pressure does not only reveal strength, it also reveals fractures. One thing I have learned is that success amplifies whatever already exists beneath the surface. If someone has unresolved insecurity, success often magnifies it. If someone struggles with control, success can actually intensify it. If someone's identity is rooted in achievement, greater achievement rarely satisfies the deeper issue. This is why some people reach levels of success they once dreamed about and still feel restless internally, because external achievement cannot heal internal emptiness. And sometimes spouses feel the weight of wounds their husband has never slowed down long enough to address. Fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear of losing control, fear of disappointing people. Many leaders are carrying emotional pressure they have never learned how to process in a healthy way. And eventually, the people closest to them experience the overflow. This is why emotional awareness matters. This is why spiritual health matters. This is why time with God matters, because leadership pressure without inner health eventually creates relational collateral damage. I think some leaders secretly believe they always have to hold everything together. Always strong, always composed, always carrying the weight, but emotional walls eventually create relational distance. Your spouse does not need a perfect leader. They need an emotionally available one, someone honest, someone present, someone willing to communicate beyond surface level conversation. James chapter 5 talks about confession, healing, and bringing things into the light. There is something powerful that happens when leaders stop hiding behind performance and begin leading with authenticity. There is something powerful that happens when leaders stop hiding behind performance and begin leading with authenticity. One of the healthiest things a husband can say is this: I do not think I have been fully present lately. I have been carrying pressure. I want us to reconnect intentionally. Vulnerability often restores connection faster than competency. Healthy success is not just financial growth. Healthy success is building a life where your marriage, family, spiritual health, and emotional health and mission remain aligned. That requires intentionality. It requires rhythms, boundaries, communication, emotional awareness, time with God, time with your spouse. In John 15, Jesus says, "Abide in me." That word abide matters because disconnected people eventually become depleted people, and depleted people struggle to remain emotionally present. I genuinely believe one of the greatest testimonies in the world today is not merely a successful business. It is a healthy marriage under pressure, a husband and wife who remain connected while carrying responsibility. That reflects the heart of God in a powerful way. So if this conversation resonated with you, I want to encourage you not to ignore it. A lot of high capacity leaders spend years building successful businesses while unintentionally drifting relationally at home. And usually, by the time the symptoms become obvious, the disconnection has already been growing beneath the surface for a long time. One of the things we believe deeply at Paradigm is this: as wealth and responsibility grow, so do the questions and complexities that come with them. Not just financially, relationally, emotionally, spiritually, and generationally. That is why our mission is helping families align family and capital with a 100-year vision. Because true legacy is not just about building wealth, it's about building healthy families, healthy relationships, clarity of purpose, and intentional stewardship across generations. A lot of families have financial strategies, but very few have relational alignment around where they are going and why it matters. That gap eventually creates pressure. If you're in a season where you are thinking more deeply about your marriage, your family vision, your leadership, your legacy, or how to build success without sacrificing the people closest to you, I would love to invite you into a conversation. There is a link below where you can schedule a virtual coffee with me and begin exploring what it looks like to create greater clarity and alignment for your family's future. And if this video added value to you, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who needs it, and leave a comment below. I appreciate you being here.